Anyway, thank you. It is such an honor to be here. Thank you for coming out in the cold rain and driving some of you many hours. It's poetry is an incredible community, and I'm really grateful to be here and share this celebration with you, and to share not only my own work, but some other work that I am so excited about. I've been a part of a couple anthology projects. One, the Echo Poetry Anthology, was huge, 700-page, 7 years in the making. And then more recently, a literary field guide to Southern Appalachia, which came out in 2019. And this, we worked with L.L. Gaddy, Rose and I, our natural history editor, and he chose 60 species that were either endemic or characteristic of Southern Appalachia. That was a difficult task, believe me, because there's a lot more that could be done. Even defining what did we mean by Southern Appalachia is a very interesting question. So there are a few poems that had already been published that we found and asked Wendell Berry, that kind of thing. We weren't going to ask Wendell Berry to write us a poem. He had already very nicely written one that fit in quite well. But most of the poems were written for this anthology. And we had 7 visual artists that we commissioned to do these beautiful illustrations. So I had way too much fun putting a PowerPoint of the images together. I did all of the images. I'm not gonna, I'll sort of go through quickly. But I was like, these are so beautiful. When you work with a book like this and the different images and the poets it becomes like a child. And so revisiting, and then of course it came out in the fall of 2019, and then COVID hit that spring, and so all of the really cool things that we were gonna be doing out in the world with the book had to sort of shut down for a while. Anyway, so I'm going to share. I can get my little. It's hard to see. Sorry. There we go. It's in 7 sections, trees and plants, and so here are some of the different images. I'm going to read American Ginseng, which is a poem by Glennis Redman. Called Living Jazz. And poets love interesting forms. If you haven't heard of the form called a golden shovel, anybody? Yeah. So Terrence Hayes, in his 2010 book, Lighthead. It's a form he created, and he took Gwendolyn Brooks's poem and used the N-word of the line. So you can do it with any other previously published poem, but Glennis Redman did the actual, we real cool, we left school, we lurk late, we strike straight, we sing sin, we thin gin, we jazz June, we die soon. And that's the Gwendolyn Brooks poem. So those are the end words in her poem in couplets. And it has an epigraph from Mary Ella Granberry, an enslaved woman from Richmond, Virginia. When you have fever, she wrap you up in cabbage leaves or ginseng leaves. Living Jazz. Our lips sing your red berry praise, 'cause we rooted in your flower flag offering for real. Under soil, sun, and shade cool, follow the old ways, Grandma says. We walk her path, carry what's left of wisdom from the oldest school. The scarred ones are best, so we chew the bitter root while others lurk under the cover of green shade into the late we know how they hunt. We hear tools clash and strike, but we know your medicine cuts fever straight, quells the heart and quiet what ails. Loudest, we hear the Cherokee sing, the land is sacred and bears no sin. Let the root bring forth lust, for we know what our elders warn is never thin. Troubled mouths prefer to toss back gin. No doctors care for us, so with poultices we mishmash and make do living jazz. ginseng, you sing loudest and proudest in June. Hear us sing too, Reed sang. We dance and shout your glory, but never shall die, for death hunts us soon, and very soon. One of the terms for, and maybe y'all know if has anybody hunted ginseng in the woods here? It's called sanging. Yeah, that's one of them. So also a part of, in addition to the images in the poem, we have a little literary, a sort of natural history summary of the species. Done in collaboration with Ella Gaddy, and then Rose and I were like, okay, but we gotta get a little poet voice in there too. So people were like, this doesn't sound like a straight science account. And we're like, yeah, it's really not. So that is, just to give you a flavor. I don't know why I have such a hard time finding this arrow here. There we go. Persimmon, black walnut, bloodroot. You can just see the images are, we were looking for a diversity of styles, voices, poets, artistic. This is a Mary Oliver poem. We have her Black Bear poem for this one, Deer Mouse. So like I said, I'm just taking you through these very quickly. To get to the birds, and I'm going to read Shauna M. Morgan's Black-Throated Songs. Which is the black-throated blue warbler. Black-throated songs. The understory trembles, confessing the secret of her nest in woodbine, virgin ivy. She listens, flits her unremarkable self, offers up a moment. See, 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 see. Shrill to a buzz, he perches higher, bill up. See, see, see. A melody skyward, cotton belly, black throat quivering, imminent plume turning blue so the mist burns away. See, see, see. See, see, see. She vibrates her wings. Everything else falls away. Under a deciduous canopy, hovering together in aftersongs until the young are fledged, until the freedom of salt air, until the sanctuary of moist ginger lily, until the oak and maple come again. There, a white spot on a wing, below the viburnum berries bursting, a faithful warble of fruit.